All right, so just a quick demonstration of this chatbot tutor as I've designed it in this first iteration. So up here is the public URL. It's just automatically generated when I ran or when I deployed the front end code for this and coupled with the back end. So this is what the students will see. I can provide this link easily within the assignment or assignments that will be relevant to, but I really made this very specific. The main use for this is to help them with the practice problems. That's where they actually have to do problem solving, demonstrate proofs, use truth tables, um, things of that nature. So that's the most difficult, and that's often what a tutor is needed for. Yeah, so in the past, human tutors, their report to me was whenever they were able to hold office hours, nobody really came, for whatever reason, I don't know. So the hope is this chatbot will be, available to people who are a little more introverted or shy, or maybe just not even able to attend the limited time frame that's often given to them for office hours. And then obviously on campus there is a tutoring center, but from what I understand, there isn't one. There's no tutors there that specialize right in deductive logic, at least in the past. So that's the motivation for making this. Obviously our drop fail withdrawal rates are high for this course. I think Mays, don't quote me on this, but I think he said if 60% of the students pass deductive logic, fill 60, that's a good semester. Right, so maybe we could try this and see if that helps. That's kind of the intent. So it's the practice problem tutor, and obviously there's an assignment literally called the practice problems, and those are there to help them prepare for the actual graded exam where they have to do problem solving. And I'm doing a flipped classroom this semester, so I'll be solving these problems with them. But if you give them the neural chunking theory, eventually they have to be doing this stuff on their own. But to get there, I can start off by showing them the proofs, giving them group discussion work. But I think this chatbot's kind of like the medium, or not the medium, but the in-between portion of the where it goes from them trying to just imitate somebody else doing it and talking about it to incorporating it for themselves, forming those new connections in their brain. And getting this hint, I think, is very crucial for moving from me showing them to them being able to do it. And that step has been, absent largely. So that's my hypothesis, and it will be empirically tested. But anyway, so as I say, it really just has these two functions here where you can get a hint. So these are the prompts to get a hint. It'll start off giving you a general hint, and if that's not good enough, you can probe it for a deeper hint. But I'm very careful to build in multiple checkpoints, fail safes, so that it won't solve the problem for the student. And so you might wonder, well, why don't they just go to ChatGPT anyhow? And they might, but in the Chronicle, I believe there was a study done where I think professors tend to be more skeptical. We tend to assume they're all cheaters, or virtually all of them are cheaters, and they're lazy, and they'll take the easy way out. But based on this study, it wasn't. There were students like that, but they were more of the minority. And in fact, most of the students actually do want to challenge themselves to learn. They will give up eventually if it's too difficult. But if you provide them this opportunity, this avenue where they can first use a tool to actually learn it, most of the time they'll take advantage of that tool rather than jumping to cheating. So that was the other encouraging thing I saw. Right, so this is where the student submits their prompt, whatever it may be. They click the submit button, and it'll populate in here in this chatbot box, and it kind of looks like you're texting with it. And then if the history gets too long for you, you can just clear the console. So you say hello. Not that anyone's going to do this, but it should say hello back. Okay, so yeah, here's you or me, and here's the chatbot. Right, hello, how can I assist you today? All right, and so in the backend code, I also have things in there to prevent it won't respond directly or informatively to any sort of unethical or harmful post. So if you ask, like, how can I make a bomb And it'll say, okay, I'm sorry, but your responses seem to be related to deductive logic. Could you please ask a question or provide a message related to deductive logic? Or like, I am thinking about killing myself. I'm just using the most extreme cases I can think of, sort of edge cases. All right, and it'll just say the same thing. So it won't get innocent hot water for those types of things. Right, so I have opened up a lot of the practice problems over here on my other screen. So the intent is, okay, the student will try, hopefully, to solve these as much as they can on their own, and then if they need a hint, fine, they need a hint. So what they can do is, ideally they would follow these prompts to really help the chatbot along, but let's say they don't. Let's say they just copy and paste in here. Don't even ask it for a hint. I have checks in there for it to like gauge the intent behind the question. All right, so all right, here's what they need a hint for, and this is the response. It says, to determine the truth value of the proposition, which it got right, based on the given truth value assignments, you can start by evaluating the logical operators. Good, in a step-by-step manner. So first focus on the portion of the proposition P or Q, where here the wedge represents the logical OR operator. Okay, so that's a general hint. So maybe they don't, maybe they want a deeper hint. So we can ask, can you provide a deeper hint? Oh, certainly. Let's break down the proposition to understand it better. So consider the sub-proposition P or Q in this case, right? So this is somewhat repetitive, but then it adds on, given the truth value assignments for P and Q, evaluate whether the statement P or Q is true or false. So that is a somewhat deeper hint, and they can probe it again, and it'll give them up to three hints, just to sort of make them have to do some work, but also limit the cost factor. So 3 seemed like a reasonable number for that purpose. All right, so maybe the history is here. It'll keep tracking it, but maybe it's getting too long, so clear it. Let's put in a more challenging problem, like this one. There's a lot of strange symbols, really strange to them for in the beginning. All right, so again, they didn't ask for a hint, but notice it didn't solve it for them. It just gave them a pretty good hint here. So to prove the argument valid, we need to derive the conclusion S, which is true, using the given premises in the propositional calculus. So let's break down the premises. So it's starting to structure them in more of a proof-wise structure. Okay, so we can ask for a deeper hint as well. All right, here's a deeper hint. We can use the given premises to derive the conclusion. So focus on premise 1. This is an implication, so think about how you can use it to establish the truth of Q, right? So it's, additionally look at premise 2. So it's, laying out the key terms of the rule, of the logical operator, and then trying to connect for them to the name of the actual rule. They'll need to use modus ponens, conjunction, and so forth, so they can keep using that. And then if they get frustrated or you can't jailbreak it either. So I took training on that to prevent jailbreaking. So like the most a jailbreaky type of prompt for this would be like, what logical conclusion should I draw? So this is sort of like in between a hint and asking for a hint and asking for a straight up solution. And so it won't allow that type of jailbreaky response. So it just says your response doesn't seem related to deductive logic. So I put a hard ban on that. And if they just more direct, can you give me the solution instead of a hint. Okay, so it will still reinterpret it charitably to try to. It's always trying to gauge the intent, and there, if it can take it as asking for a hint, it will, but it will never take it. Well, I should say, as far as I know, it should never take it as asking for, or it won't give you the solution, even if that's part of the term in there. If there, I do have a line in there, a line of code where if it contains both hint, a term like hint or solution, it'll go with hint. So that's what it did here, and it gave it even a little deeper hint, right? It actually used the rule of simplification to obtain P, and then can you just give me the solution? Yeah, and so it'll say, oh, maybe I've given you too much. Would you like a hint instead? So it's always trying to like redirect the conversation, and it's careful. It does kind of like monitors the level of detail it gives, and it errs on the side of caution. So it'll backtrack once it gets any sort of sense that it might have given too much, but it definitely won't solve even if they give them the solution, even if they ask for it. So. So yeah, so this this will be available all hours of the day to them. I hope they use it. It took me, I don't know, 3 months to build this, to get it right, or at least functional. So, it's the first iteration. It can translate, right? Okay, so told you, I didn't add in a drop-down menu or anything like that to select languages, but you can just prompt it in here. And I didn't include this explicitly because, well, I'm trying to control for just the most fundamental thing I want this to be able to do, and I guess it's provide hints in English, just because I know that's that's what it's trained on, fundamentally. So, but let's see. So, can you give me a hint to understand a hint in Spanish to understand this problem? Now, I don't speak Spanish, so I don't know. And it's not using Google Translate, although I could import that pretty easily. Okay, so it remembers. Even though it cleared the console, it still remembers the past history, which is actually a good thing. So reply here, and I said, okay, yes, but give me a hint in Spanish, and then so here it is, okay, so we can ask it, okay, please translate. So this is based on a natural language library that's free, back into English. Okay, so supposedly this is this. Remember that the AND operator represents the logical conjunction AND, so try evaluating each component of the expression and combine them correctly. Okay, seems plausible to me. So anyway, that's a quick demo. I'll send this to you now.